Hello and welcome. Today we're going to dive into some of the most powerful and, let's be honest, confusing little words in the English language, prepositions of time. They might seem small, but trust me, getting these right is a massive step towards sounding truly fluent. So let's get into it.
Have you ever just stared at a sentence, wondering if it should be in, on, or at? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. These tiny words can be a real headache for pretty much everyone learning English. So what's the deal? Why are they so difficult?
So first up, let's just tackle this head on. Why are prepositions so tricky? It really helps to know that you're not alone in the confusion.
Okay, so what makes them so tough? Well, for starters, just try to define a word like on without using another preposition. It's almost impossible. And direct translation? That's usually a dead end. For instance, the word en in Spanish can mean in, on, or at, depending on the situation. On top of that, these words are like shapeshifters. A word like after can be a preposition, after lunch, or it can be a conjunction, a word that connects ideas, like in after she left. It's no wonder it all gets so confusing.
Okay, next up, let's talk about duration. We're going to look at two words that often get mixed up, during and throughout. Here's the main thing you need to remember. Think of during as something that happens at some point inside a bigger chunk of time. But throughout means it happens continuously from the very beginning to the very end. Let's make this clearer with a couple of examples.
For example, if we say James fell asleep during the meeting, it just means it happened at some point inside that meeting. Maybe he dozed off for 5 minutes, maybe an hour. The point is, he wasn't necessarily asleep for the whole thing. It's just one event that happened within a larger one.
Now, here's the perfect contrast. If you say it rained throughout the night, that means the rain was constant. It didn't stop and start, it just kept coming down for the entire night, from dusk till dawn, and, as the sentence adds, maybe even a little longer. That's the power of throughout. It covers the whole shebang. All right, our next pair. Time windows. This is a big one. Let's compare between and within. They both set up a window of time, but in very different ways. Okay, this is a really important distinction. The absolute key to understanding within is that its clock starts right now, at the exact moment I'm speaking. Between, on the other hand, just points to two other times, and they have nothing to do with the present. See? I could say this to you at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's got nothing to do with now. I'm just setting a future appointment that exists in that 1 hour slot from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. But if I say this, the stopwatch starts ticking this very second. It means from right now until 10 minutes from now. The start time is anchored to this exact moment. That's the critical difference, and it's super useful to know. Now, let's switch gears a little and talk about approximations and deadlines, how we talk about time when it's not exact. So first off, what do we even mean by approximate? It's simple, really. It just means close to a time, but not exactly on the money. It's a more or less kind of thing.
So to talk about approximate time, you'll hear at around or at about all the time. Here's a fun little fact. Most native speakers can't even agree if one is more exact than the other. They basically mean the same thing, close to. For deadlines, by the time is a really handy way of saying before. And if you want the total opposite of approximate, if you need absolute precision, you say on the dot. And speaking of deadlines, this leads us right into the language we use when time is ticking. What do we say when we're early, or we just barely make it, or we don't make it at all? Let's look at 3 super useful expressions here. If you finish early, you're ahead of schedule. If you slide in at the very last second, you made it just in time. But if that clock runs out before you're done, well, you've run out of time. Okay, it's that time. Let's check your understanding. You ready for a quick quiz?
Take a look at this sentence. What's the missing phrase? The biggest clue is right there at the beginning. I couldn't answer all the questions. What does that tell you? And the answer is out of. I ran out of time. It makes perfect sense, right? The context tells you everything. Because you couldn't answer all the questions, it means your time was totally gone. You didn't make it just in time, you ran out of time. Great job if you got that one right.
So after going through all of this, what's the real secret? What's the one thing that ties it all together? It all comes down to one simple, powerful word: context. I just love this quote because it hits the nail on the head. The difference between just knowing the words and truly understanding the language is all about context. We just saw it in that quiz. The words around the blank space gave you the answer. Paying close attention to context is what takes you to the next level. And that about wraps it up. To keep this going, I'll leave you with a question to think about. What other small words have you noticed that make a huge difference in English? Start paying attention to them, because that's where the magic really happens. Thanks for joining me.